Welcome to Morfanime. I'm your fan of more anime. How is everybody doing today? I myself am doing great because today I will be reviewing the Saiyan Saga of Dragon Ball Z, or just straight up Dragon Ball. If you didn't know, the Dragon Ball Z was more of a thing that was only in America to separate the two worlds for some reason. But really, the whole franchise, from when Goku was a kid to the end of the Buu Saga, is one thing, and it is Dragon Ball. So the Saiyan Saga is what we're going to talk about today. I've probably watched it maybe 30 times from start to finish, or played the video game version of it 30 more times, maybe even more than that, to be honest with you. I've read it 3 times, and I think it was, I've spent so much time in the last year or so diving into other series like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, and My Hero Academia, but I thought let's take it back a little bit. Let's get a little nostalgic. Let's talk about where it all started for me, and that was the Saiyan Saga, the first saga in anime that I actually finished from start to finish when I was a child. And it's something that I hold near and dear, and I think I appreciate more now than I did then, because I think as the series went on, it didn't get better than that. Arguably, the Saiyan Saga is the best saga in the entire series, because it has it all. It has basically all the best heroes from that series involved in this fight, involved in this conflict. It has 3 amazing antagonists: Raditz, Goku's brother; Nappa, a tank, don't mean to flip you off; and Vegeta, the man, the myth, the legend, one of the greatest villains in the entire series, turned babyface, turned good guy. These 3 is all this saga needed. And of course we have the Cybermen and whatnot, but these are the 3 that are, and you can't have a good arc or saga without a good villain. And these 3 villains really carried this saga on their back, along with these amazing heroes, the Z fighters, that were built up in OG Dragon Ball. As a kid, I had no idea there was an OG Dragon Ball until I got a little older and it debuted on Toonami. But as time went on, I did get to I got to watch OG Dragon Ball. I got to read Dragon Ball, and it makes you really appreciate the Saiyan Saga. I'm telling you this right now, if you haven't read or watched the original Dragon Ball series, you're doing yourself a disservice, because it's better than Dragon Ball Super. It's better than anything in the Buu Saga. It's so good. It's such good storytelling. It's an adventure. The characters aren't overpowered. There really aren't any gods, unless you consider Kami a god, but there isn't any planet-busting characters just yet. And you appreciate that. You get to see more hand-to-hand combat. You're really doing yourself a disservice if you don't go give that a watch, especially if you consider yourself a hardcore Dragon Ball fan. And I do, because I've studied it harder than anything I've ever learned in school. I know it like the back of my hand. Oh, what the hell is that? Whatever. But this saga, the Saiyan Saga, could be considered the best that Dragon Ball has to offer. For me personally, it's either that or the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, which was right before it. Like, that whole section was chef's kiss. Amazing. Peak Dragon Ball at its finest. Storytelling, character development, fights, art, animation. It's amazing. Music. It's so good. Lore. It's everything you've ever wanted in using the Dragon Ball world done right. it kicks off with us, seeing Goku a little older, I guess you could say a little wiser for sure. He seems wiser than he is in Dragon Ball Super, that's for sure. We get to see his son, Gohan, who, goes on to be one of the greatest anime characters of all time, for sure, at least up until the Cell Saga. And you get to see that, and then an alien ship comes to Earth, and it's Raditz looking all badass. This is before we even knew what a Vegeta was. So this guy's looking crazy. He's got a tail like Goku. You're wondering what's going on. He's got this really good design of the armor. The Saiyan Armor is one of the best designs in Dragon Ball for sure. There's a reason they kept bringing it back for Vegeta to wear. It's simple. And it's just unique. You don't see anything like it. And if you do now, it's just a ripoff of that design. So he shows up, Raditz shows up, kills a farmer, no, bloodlusted. He's just a bad dude. Later on in Dragon Ball Super, when you find out the backstory with Bardock, it doesn't really make a lot of sense why Raditz is such an ass. But I guess he was picked on by Nappa and Vegeta for years. But we didn't even know all that. But we all knew that Raditz is here, and he's twice as strong as our hero, if not 3 times as strong as Goku when he shows up. He beats Piccolo's ass. No, does he beat up? No, he has a confrontation with Piccolo. Piccolo's like, whoa, who's this yay? He's strong as all heck. Raditz pulls out a scouter for the first time that we've ever seen, checking out power levels. And that was really the first time we were introduced to the idea of power levels, which was amazing at first. And he goes on, and he meets with his brother Goku. Think about this. Think about people in Japan who knew of Goku for many years, reading the manga, maybe watching the anime, and then they get to this point in the series, they get to this point when they meet Raditz, Goku's blood brother. He's 3 times stronger. I would have to say that Raditz could easily be considered the most underutilized character in the entire series. It's crazy that he wasn't used more. Toriyama didn't say, oh shit, this is my main character's brother. In a lot of ways, a lot of authors would probably have taken the Raditz character and given him the spot that Vegeta gets later on. You know what I mean? Like, he could have been that anti-hero that eventually, softened up and married Bulma, our original heroine of the series, which would have made sense for sure. Yes, Vegeta turned out to be more, but Raditz could have filled that role for sure. Raditz comes in, he tells Goku, hey man, you may have forgotten, you may have hit in your head, but you're supposed to destroy this place. Like, you're supposed to kill all life on this planet. I for one, would love to see a what-if story if Goku just murdered everybody on this planet. I know they've done, fan-made versions of that, but man, would that be a fun story to see, a more ruthless version of Goku teaming up with his brother and going back up and joining with Vegeta and Nappa and dividing, becoming a squad to take out Frieza. That'd be a fun little movie what-if story. But Goku, of course, our hero, says, get out of here. I don't care if you're my brother, but Earth is my planet. I'm a human being. I'm an Earthling. Get out of here, Raditz. Krillin tells Raditz, hey, you gotta get moving, pal. And he backhands him. I think he hits him with his damn tail. Krillin's out. Krillin, one of the strongest humans on the planet, could barely stand up to this dude. Already setting the pace here. Then our titular villain, one of our former antagonists, Piccolo, or Piccolo Jr., the son of King Piccolo, really. The reincarnation. He shows up on Roshi's island, and he says, hey, this dude's really strong. And yes, I hate you, Goku. I hate you so much. I hate your face. But this guy's too strong for me by myself. But together, with a little bit of strategy, we might be able to make this work. And Goku, who let Piccolo live years ago, probably, he probably just wanted to fight him again. But he might have saw something in him that may lead to this moment. He's like, we could use this guy someday. And they didn't really have time to go find Tien or Yamcha, and how much help it would have taken probably Tien, Yamcha, Roshi, Krillin, and Goku together. All together, and Chaozu, using all the strategy in the book to beat this guy, and they would have done it by the skin of their teeth. But the combination of Piccolo and Goku, in my opinion, one of the best team-ups in the entire series. Oh yeah, give me that every Sunday. I want to see these two together. I'm a bigger fan of Piccolo than I am Vegeta as a rival for Goku, so them teaming up, fuck yeah, it gets me hyped every time. Goku gets on his Nimbus, Piccolo flies next to him, they head over to save Gohan, who's been taken hostage. It makes a lot of sense. Raditz is thinking, okay, my brother's lost his fucking mind, so he might be a lost cause. This boy here is half Saiyan, he's still got potential, and I can use him as leverage, yes, and if it doesn't work, I can take him. I'll take him and we'll form him into a new Saiyan or half Saiyan and he could be my little bitch boy since I'm Nappa and Vegeta's little bitch boy, and I feel like I won't be the worst. And he can never be as good as me because he's not a full-blooded Saiyan like me. I wouldn't be surprised if those kind of thoughts were going through Raditz's head. He's sitting there waiting. He throws the crying ass Gohan into his ship, locks him up. Goku and Piccolo show up and they're like, hey, give me back my son. And we're not going to kill anybody. I think Raditz was like, kill 1,000 humans and or 100 humans and bring their bodies or something to me and prove that, you're a Saiyan and come with me or you'll never see your son again. Which Goku would never do. Honestly, I think that Goku would allow his son Gohan to die before he would ever kill somebody ruthlessly like Raditz wanted him to do. He would, of course, fight to protect his son, but if it was a choice between 1,000 lives or 100 lives and one of his sons, he would probably let his son go, especially with the knowledge of bringing people back to life with the Dragon Balls. Goku and Piccolo go at it with Raditz. If you haven't watched Raditz versus Goku and Piccolo for a while, I just recently checked it out again. It's so well done. I almost wish it was a little bit longer. That's my only critique, because it's so much fun to watch these guys brawl with this guy, and a little bit more hand-to-hand than we're used to in Dragon Ball Super nowadays. He's blocking things, and this is back in the day. This is like the 90s, early 90s. They animated this. It's gorgeous. It really is. And some of the panels in the manga version, fantastic. Raditz is just too much for these guys. But they get him 2 or 3 times they get Raditz in a position where he can be killed, and Goku's soft heart, Raditz is like, wait, let me go, please. It was weird that Goku grabbed Raditz's tail and it made him weaker. Because I'm almost positive that in OG Dragon Ball, Goku found a way to make himself not weak to the tail grabbing thing. But you're telling me Raditz, a guy who is 3 times stronger than Goku, can't do that as well? Good thing it worked out for them. I mean, they grabbed his tail, it made him weaker, it gave him an opening. It was the Saiyan kryptonite, at least at that time. But, he didn't hold on. He let him go. He believed that Raditz was willing to change, and that's totally on track for Goku's character, for sure, to just let them go. Later on in the series, we'll see it over and over and over. Most egregiously in the Moro arc or the Cell arc. He's willing to give these villains extra chances after chances, but sometimes Goku, what are you weighing here? There's life here that you're balancing, and it's your son's life. What are you thinking, Goku? Eventually, Gohan breaks out of Raditz's ship, launches himself into Raditz, and this is the first time we actually get to see Gohan have this secretly, Broly-like hidden power within him, which for me as a kid was like, whoa, who's this kid? I like him. How do you tap into that? Raditz has now got broken ribs, internal damage for sure. He's hurting now. Piccolo lost an arm, which was highly brutal for me as a, young boy watching Dragon Ball Z for the first time. Piccolo's not doing too hot either. He can't waste time, using his regeneration ability to grow his arm back. He's saving everything he has for one of the most badass moves in the entire series. Probably my favorite move in the entire series, and that is the special beam cannon. And he launches that bad boy. And he goes right through Raditz and Goku, our main character. That's right, baby. Piccolo, one of the best characters in the series, kills Goku for the first time. For me, as a first-time anime watcher when I was a kid, I was like, wait a minute. They killed the main character of the series? Where is it going to go from here? We find out, that you can bring people back to life using the Dragon Balls, but only once. And that was a cool rule. And I really wish they stuck to that. Bring them back one time. You have one redo, and that's it. Once you die that second time, you're done. You're donezo. Because then, you always have that redo. You always have that sacrifice in your back pocket that you don't have to permanently accept, Then later on in the series, of course, they decide to make it multiple times, and there's no meaning to death anymore. But in this saga, in the Saiyan Saga, death still meant something. Krillin, Roshi, Chaozu all died at one point during OG Dragon Ball, meaning they could not die again. So we have 3 characters and our main character Goku, when he comes back, will not be able to die again. So there was some real tension here. Finally, our final piece of tension was Piccolo. If Piccolo dies, Kami dies. If Kami dies, Dragon Balls are gone forever. Nobody comes back. We have no knowledge of more Dragon Balls at this time. This is the only mythical set, which I think they should have stuck to. Or maybe do the Namek ones, get rid of them, that's it. But, so there is some tension going on here. Death matters. And we find out through Raditz, through his dying words, he tells Piccolo, who's still a villain, sort of, at this point. I have 2 other Saiyan friends, Nappa and Vegeta, who are listening to this through my face scouter thing, and they're gonna come here in about 1 year's time. Thanks for all that information, because wouldn't it have been a hell of a surprise if they thought it was over and no one said anything to them, and they just thought, oh cool, we beat the only villain that's from space, we're fine now. I'm sure they would have thought about it and maybe been like, hey, this could happen again, we need to get stronger. So Goku's body disappears. Kami decides to put together a plan. I'm gonna bring you to King Kai, the Lord of the North, whatever he is. He was kind of the god of the North's part of space, and at the time one of the top diggity dogs. And he's gonna train you, make you stronger. So all the humans are gonna get gathered together. They get gathered up by Krillin, and they all decide to go to Kami and train. And they decide, hey, let's get stronger. Let's try and fight these guys. If we all push ourselves, Krillin can probably tell Tien and Yamcha, who's a baseball player now, makes a whole lot of sense. Yamcha, using his superhuman abilities for monetary gain, hell yeah, makes a whole ton of sense. Krillin gathers him, Yajirobe, Chaozu, and Tien, tells them the whole story. I'm assuming they felt Goku die because they can feel energy. But I'm not sure if they knew just how strong people could get. So I'm sure Krillin said, hey man, we got to get at least as strong as Raditz was. So they go train with Kami, something Goku already did. So Goku had to go do something else in heaven. Or did they call it heaven? Otherworld? Yes, in Otherworld. He gets to do one of my favorite parts is when he has to do that little thing in HFIL for a bit. Home of Infinite Losers. It sucks that we didn't get to see more of Raditz in the other world. You know, it would have been kind of cool to see Goku beat his ass maybe halfway through his training. Maybe he's like, hey, I invited dead Raditz here for you to train with and fight. And maybe we could have got some back and forths there. Maybe Goku could have softened Raditz's heart a little bit and he could be reincarnated like Majin Buu is later in the story. I don't know. Like I said, Raditz, wasted character, 100%. So, from there, we have Nappa and Vegeta on their way to Earth. There's a couple filler things where they end up on some planet and they have to deal with some bugs. Not a whole big deal. Gohan, though, gets to train with Piccolo, one of the best father-son relationships in all of anime. All of it. Uncle Piccolo, really. These two have a great relationship. Gohan melts Piccolo's heart, and it grows 3 times bigger than it ever was before, just like the Grinch. And Piccolo becomes a full-fledged good guy by the end of this saga, but this is the beginnings of that. Gohan gets a badass training outfit when he gets Goku's outfit, and then later he's wearing a Piccolo-style gi. It's pretty dope. One of my favorite filler episodes was when the humans all got to go to like that weird world where they had to fight 2 ghost-like Saiyans that really weren't real, but they got their asses beat. That was fun. My favorite character in Dragon Ball is Tien, and he was a big part of the actual fight with Nappa later on. It's very fun. So a whole year goes by. Gohan actually learns how to fight. He was never allowed to learn how to fight before because Chi-Chi wants him to be a scholar. We all know that. And then finally the Saiyans arrive a little too early. Actually, King Kai didn't account for time of Goku having to go past Snake Way. I forgot to mention Snake Way. Goku had to go across Snake Way, which took like, 4 months or something? So a third of his time for training he took going down Snake Way, which was part of his training in a way. It made him stronger endurance-wise. So Goku is a little late to the show, which is fine. It works out. It gives everybody else time to shine. Fucking Nappa and Vegeta show up like badasses. They show up. Nappa destroys an entire city with one move, and one of the coolest moves for sure, blowing up the entire city. And then Vegeta says, hey, what if you just destroyed a Dragon Ball, you dumb fuck? Which I thought was interesting as a child. And I thought that was interesting now. That makes sense, right? Vegeta's not a dum-dum. He's like, we're strategizing here. We're trying to get these Dragon Balls. And what if one of them was in this city? Think. Goku does get revived by the Dragon Balls, and he's only got a limited time. He's got to run past. It sucks he couldn't just teleport out of there back to Earth, or they could have... I guess there's nothing they could have done, but he was in Otherworld, but alive. It's a whole weird thing. I don't know how far Toriyama thought about how the afterlife works, but Goku got to keep his body, so I guess physical living beings can go to the spirit realm. So, the Saiyans show up. They have a little bit of a talk with Piccolo and explain to him that he's an alien. Less of a shocker. If you look at Piccolo, you're like, yeah, you definitely look more like an alien than a demon, for sure. This is the only indication that we have that there might be more Dragon Balls. But as a kid, no way did I think that. And I don't think if I watched it for the very first time would I assume that there'd be more Dragon Balls on Namek if I just heard that Piccolo was an alien. I still would think that it's a Earth thing. Or a kami god type thing, and it's something that only the god of Earth could do, not necessarily Namek's. So at the time, the tension was real. These Saiyans show up. Nappa, 4 times stronger, I believe, maybe 3 than Raditz ever was. So he's a tank. He's also very durable. Then you got Vegeta, this little guy, inconspicuous, but dangerous as all heck. A little more quiet than Nappa, just waiting for his moment to shine. They're looking for the Dragon Balls, man. I think they know that Goku's dead. I believe so, because then later when they find out that they're waiting for somebody, they're like, "Are you talking about Kakarot?" And they get a little excited. So they summon these little creatures called Cybermen. I believe there were 6 or 7 of them. They come out of the ground and they decide to, hey, let's give Goku some time. When I was a kid, I was like, why didn't they just fight one-on-one fights the whole time? And maybe they would have had more time for Goku to get there before Piccolo died. Because they should have. Because it starts off with them doing it almost tournament style, which was awesome because I was a big fan of the 3 tournaments in the Dragon Ball arcs. The 21st, 22nd, and 23rd Tenkaichi. And it was kind of like that. First up was Tien. People forget about this. Tien was first. Tien fought a Cyberman one-on-one in a really good little sparring match. He ends up winning the battle. And I believe Vegeta kills the Cyberman for failing and then looks at the other Cybermen. He's like, next time, y'all better want to fight to death because you'll die if you lose anyway, so you better be ready to sacrifice everything. Next up was going to be Krillin. Yamcha says, hold on there, buddy boy. You've already died once. And this was my first indication as a kid knowing that, okay, Krillin's died before, but I didn't know that. If you die here again, you can't come back. Me, I'll be back. So it's one of the most heroic things Yamcha's ever done. He's like, all right, I'm a badass. Yamcha at this point is stronger than Raditz ever was. He comes in swinging, and he has a really good little bout with the Cybermen as well. And during this fight, it was either this fight or the Tien fight. It was this fight. Yamcha and the Cybermen are fighting in the air at high speeds. And this is the first time Gohan, because Gohan looks at Chaozu and Krillin and Piccolo, and they're all watching the fight at high speeds. But Gohan, who's so new to this, and it's kind of a way for us, the viewer, to learn as well, that, he's got to train his eyes, So Piccolo tells him, hey, calm down, look, just focus, look for their energy, feel them. And eventually Gohan is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's something that stuck with me. I remember that was dope. Yamcha ends up winning the battle, but gets a little too cocky. He doesn't double tap. Eventually, the Cyberman knows he'll be dead otherwise and jumps on to Yamcha and suicide bombs. Boom. Yamcha's dead. Honestly, impactful as all heck. Super crazy, out of nowhere. Shows us as a viewer, as a reader, oh shit. Death could happen to our main characters. And early on, before even the Saiyans got a chance to fight. So we're sitting there going, okay, shit's going down. Shit's going to get real here. Krillin gets too angry, too over-emotional, and decides, I'm going to fight all, which was awesome, but I'm going to fight all the other Cybermen, which sucks, because he could have drawn it out. They could have drawn it out and just been a little more cautious. They could have sparred with these Cybermen, which they are obviously stronger than. They could have had Krillin go next, beat the crap, get a little anger out, whatever. Then have Piccolo go. Maybe have Gohan get a little bit of experience in. Eliminate them one at a time before the big boys get involved. And then maybe Goku would have shown up before more people died. Or at least made it by the time Piccolo was going to die. I mean, then they wouldn't have had to do that whole thing, but it all makes sense down the line. But still, they could have drew it out a little more if Krillin didn't get a little too bombastic. He does a babyish super attack where he makes the energy goes into the air. He spreads, it's like a spread shot, and it just kills all the Cybermen except for one, which tries to go after Gohan, which Piccolo grabs, throws up, and blows up with like a mouth blast. He's like, ah, which I always remember. Krillin even tries to throw a pot shot at the Saiyans, which does absolutely nothing. Which made me go, shit. Those blasts eviscerated most of the Cybermen, and now who are as strong as Raditz, and now it does absolutely nothing to Nappa or Vegeta. So now Nappa's up. Now Nappa's ready to cause havoc. And he's not fighting one-on-one. He's going against the whole crew. And I've said this before. Nappa versus the Z Fighters, in my opinion, best group fight in all of Dragon Ball. So good. It was so cool. He goes after Tien. At some point, he cuts off one of Tien's arms. It's in a very brutal moment. I personally was like, whoa, what is happening here? Is Nappa going to just rip their limbs off? Like, this is crazy. How often? Well, I guess we did see Raditz take off one of Piccolo's arms, so it's kind of repetitive. But I digress. That battle was good. Tien was just trying his best. Yes, you could say that Tien didn't do much, but Tien fought. He was strong. I believe his power level was 1850 or something. Tien was very strong for a human. Tien, he's such an underutilized character. One of my favorite Dragon Ball character. One of my favorite anime characters of all time. And I wish he got to do more, but I think he put up a damn good fight in this battle, in this bout. I would have loved to see even Yamcha get his opportunity against Nappa. Maybe it would have been cooler if Nappa was the one to kill Yamcha. Whatever. It's still cool that, we got to see a random out of nowhere explosion death from a Cyberman, though. Not against it. There's very little I would change about the Saiyan Saga, really. Eventually, Chaozu sacrifices himself when Nappa's getting a little overconfident and blows himself up, kind of like the Cybermen, on the back of Nappa, which doesn't do anything except maybe destroy some of Nappa's armor. Tien loses it a little bit. Piccolo and Krillin attempt a triple team move with Gohan. Gohan's just too inexperienced, runs away. Eventually, Tien uses everything he's got for a one-arm tri-beam. And if you watched OG Dragon Ball, you know that the tri-beam, or the Kikoho, takes your life energy. So he not only has one arm, and he's supposed to use two to use the tri-beam. He uses everything he has left and dies. They've mentioned it's kind of like the 8 gates in Dragon Ball or in Naruto with Rock Lee. I've always compared Tien and Rock Lee, their abilities and whatnot, because he's got a sacrificial type ability. And if he was full health, he could do a couple Kikohos and be okay. But if he's already on death's door, he's pissed off that his friend, his life mate Chaozu, who has already died once before. So Chaozu, according to the knowledge we've been given, is dead forever. Sad as fuck, because Chaozu was the chopper of the Dragon Ball world for a while, if you watch One Piece. He sacrifices everything, and all it does is scuff him up. I like to think, as a Tien fan, that it did do some damage to Nappa, but honestly, it didn't seem like it. Tien dies. He went out on his own, though. He got to make that decision himself. He could have just lied there and probably survived. I've always theorized it would have been fun to see Tien go to Namek later on, but it's fine. I really do wish they did more with his training with King Kai later, though. Wouldn't have been sick if Tien became the master of the Kaioken, especially since Goku went on to be kind of a Super Saiyan whore, so he didn't really need that transformation anymore. So Tien with the Kaioken would have been cool. So Tien goes bye-bye. Would have been cool to see more of his training, but that's fine. Now it's down to Krillin and Piccolo and Gohan. Gohan's got to step up this time. In a lot of ways, Gohan fucked up by not hitting him the first time, and it kind of is Gohan's fault that Tien had to make that sacrifice. I think he was going to do it regardless. He wanted to be with Chaozu in the other world. He wanted to go with his friend, his best friend. So eventually they give Piccolo and Krillin and Gohan some time. I think like 3 hours. They give him 3 hours. That's how far behind Goku was. Like, he had 3 more hours to wait for Goku, and he still didn't show up. Now they have to fight Nappa again. Nappa's, he's a little recharged. They try for the same thing they did to Raditz and grab Nappa's tail, and he's like, nah. Elbows Piccolo in the head in one of the most brutal scenes in the entire series. Piccolo makes this face like... Then at one point, Gohan actually does get some licks onto Nappa, but it's just not enough. It's too little too late. And Piccolo makes arguably the biggest sacrifice in the series, the saddest, most emotionally impactful, where he jumps in front of Gohan and takes a blast from Nappa head on. And then, he dies in front of Gohan. And Gohan's, first big loss that he got to see in front of his eyes. Yeah, Goku died, but Gohan wasn't awake at the time. So Gohan sees Piccolo die, and he's sad. And at some point, Krillin throws a Kienzan, the Destructo Disc at Nappa. I think it might have happened before Piccolo's sacrifice. That could have cut off Nappa's head, though. We should have saw more of those. Throws a Kienzan, scratches his cheek. Nappa's getting pissed. But eventually, surely, our boy, the main character. This is Goku, in my opinion, as a good main character. He shows up after letting the other members of the Z Fighters, not letting, but at least story-wise, plot-wise, they got their opportunities to shine, make their sacrifices, show the fans how badass they are as human beings. Would have been kind of cool to see Roshi involved in the fights, though, especially later on in Super when we find out he's actually stronger than he let on to be, or he's always been training. It would have been kind of fun to see Roshi versus a Cyberman. See him kick ace. So Goku comes in and basically obliterates Nappa, breaks his back like Bane and Batman. Vegeta kills his own partner. He's like, well, if you can't walk, you got no use for me, son. I love Nappa. I named my cat Nappa. That's how much I love Nappa. Nappa's gone. Like I said, amazing battle between Z Fighters and this guy, including Goku at the end there. So really all the Z Fighters except for Yamcha got involved in the fight with Nappa, and only because one of Nappa's subordinates blew himself up. So really the whole gang got their chance to go against Nappa, which is pretty cool, and you don't really get to see that ever again. So much fun, and this is one of the few times you get to see the humans really make an impact. Goku wins, then it's coming down to the legendary battle of Goku versus Vegeta. These two go at it. It's so well done. It's the Prince of all Saiyans versus the low, the shitty version, Bardock's son, the low class. It was amazing. They go at it in one of the best fights in the entire series. And then Gohan and Krillin get involved. It turns out to be one of the best ways to end a fight. Like Goku couldn't beat Vegeta on his own. No way, no how. But with help, with teamwork, with Krillin, best teamwork for sure. He used Krillin and his son, who was so inexperienced. He didn't know what Gohan knew. He knew that he trained with Piccolo. That's all he knew. So he used the knowledge that he knew about maybe Piccolo's possible training techniques. He knew Gohan had potential. And then, of course, Yajirobe coming in, cutting off the Vegeta tail when he goes all, giant monkey form, which they find a way to incorporate the Ozaru form, which is dope, and could have been the end. Like, there's no way, unless they cut that tail off, they were going to win. Krillin tried to Kienzan, Destructo Disc that tail off. Not gonna happen, son. Luckily, Yajirobe's got the sharpest sword on the entire planet, cuts it off. I still don't know how he was able to do that. He's just caught Vegeta off guard. Gohan transforms at some point. Luckily, Vegeta's a good enough fighter to take care of that. Gets crushed by him. At some point, the Spirit Bomb was saved by Goku when he was trying to summon all that power. The first ever Spirit Bomb. Krillin, of all people, gets to actually throw the very first Spirit Bomb. It's just a little baby ball. Gohan bounces that bad boy back. They hit Vegeta. He goes flying. It's just poetry in motion, people. Vegeta lands. He's still alive. He attempts to escape. Krillin had the opportunity to kill the dude. Goku says, hey, no. Let him live. Down the line, we'll deal with it later. Super cool. Goku, after all that, was willing to let him live. Saiyan Saga ends with us finding out there's more Dragon Balls. There's a chance to save everybody. Greatest saga in the entire series, hands down. Everybody got involved. Everybody got an opportunity to shine. That's why I love it. This is Morfanime. What did you think of the Saiyan Saga? Is it your favorite? Are you more of a Dragon Ball Super fan? Do you like the gods better? The over-the-top power levels? I'm more back there, man. For Dragon Ball, I'm Saiyan Saga back. Cell Saga I love, but Frieza, you know, let's go back to where the Kung Fu, hand-to-hand combat. There's the reason I got into Naruto after Dragon Ball. They were really good at choreographing the combat. This is Morfanime. Please subscribe, please share, please comment down below. I'll talk to you later.